The First Lady to Bill Clinton from 1993 to 2001, Hillary Clinton began working to alleviate medical problems facing many citizens, initiating the Children's Health Insurance Program, increasing research funding for illnesses, and raising awareness around illnesses facing veterans.
She also helped create the Department of Justice's Violence Against Women Office, speaking out against the Taliban's treatment of Afghani women, and founding Vital Voices, an initiative to help women participate in political processes. She also spoke about women's rights at the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, China in 1995.
Women and children make up a large majority of the world's refugees. And when women are excluded from the political process, they become even more vulnerable to abuse. I believe that now, on the eve of a new millennium, it is time to break the silence. It is time for us to say here in Beijing, and for the world to hear, that it is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
In 1993, the United Nations Conference on Human Rights in Vienna confirmed that women's rights were human rights. Clinton refers to this step quite a bit in her speech, using it as logic for her argument, as well as the causal argument that women who are excluded are more subject to abuse.
Earlier today, I participated in a World Health Organization forum. In that forum, we talked about ways that government officials, NGOs, and individual citizens are working to address the health problems of women and girls. Tomorrow, I will attend a gathering of the United Nations Development Fund for Women. There, the discussion will focus on local and highly successful programs that give hard-working women access to credit so they can improve their own lives and the lives of their families.
While discussing ways in which organizations are working to improve women's rights, Clinton subtly appeals to the audience by discussing meetings and organizations that she participated in, giving her credibility in the audience's eyes.
What we are learning around the world is that if women are healthy and educated, their families will flourish. If women are free from violence, their families will flourish. If women have a chance to work and earn as full and equal partners in society, their families will flourish. And when families flourish, communities and nations do as well. That is why every woman, every man, every child, every family, and every nation on this planet does have a stake in the discussion that takes place here.
Clinton also uses the logic that women are such an integral part of society that if something regarding them is awry, the whole system can be put in jeopardy.
We come together and talk about our aspirations and concerns. And time and again, our talk turns to our children and our families. However different we may appear, there is far more that unites us than divides us. We share a common future, and we are here to find common ground so that we may help bring new dignity and respect to women and girls all over the world, and in so doing, bring new strength and stability to families as well.
Clinton uses words such as we, our, and us to unite herself with audience members, raising sympathy. By using those words, she also gives members a sense of empowerment, of being connected to her and able to do something.
It is a violation of human rights when women and girls are sold into the slavery of prostitution for human greed, and the kinds of reasons that are used to justify this practice should no longer be tolerated. It is a violation of human rights when women are doused with gasoline, set on fire, and burned to death because their marriage dowries are deemed too small. It is a violation of human rights when individual women are raped in their own communities and when thousands of women are subjected to rape as a tactic or prize of war. It is a violation of human rights when a leading cause of death worldwide among women ages 14 to 44 is the violence they are subjected to in their own homes by their own relatives. It is a violation of human rights when young girls are brutalized by the painful and degrading practice of genital mutilation. It is a violation of human rights when women are denied the right to plan their own families, and that includes being forced to have abortions or being sterilized against their will.
This piece is very effective because, once again, Clinton is using the fact that women's rights are human rights as logic, as well as giving examples and condemning them for being human rights violations. The use of anaphora here is also extremely effective, driving her point home.
Despite the 1993 Vienna Declaration and Program of Action stating that both men and women have certain unalienable personal freedoms and are entitled to protections for those freedoms, as Clinton mentions in her speech, in the late 20th century, women were still suffering from many human rights violations, such as being killed at birth or forced to marry. Even now, 19 years later, women's rights are still not equal, and many of the violations that occurred in 1995 are still happening today, such as unequal pay, being denied political voices and education, female genital mutilation, and much more.
If there is one message that echoes forth from this conference, let it be that human rights are women's rights and women's rights are human rights once and for all. And among those rights are the right to speak freely and the right to be heard.